So for this lesson here, I'm just recording kind of a bit of information on external factors. It's a new area in Unit 1. I'm going to go through the different features involved in external factors, and I have a question that I'm going to give you at the end, and I'm going to get you to do that question out yourselves. So the first thing that we're going to be focused on here is to know what external factors are. And external obviously being something outside of a business. So these are things that will affect our business, but they're things that we can't control. They're things that are going to happen outside of our business. So internal being in your business, external being outside your business. The four that we look at for the IGCSE are political, environmental, social, and technological or technology. These are the four external factors. So these are things outside the business that can influence, affect our decisions, or create opportunities, or just change the way in which we run our business. So we call them pest factors. Why pest? P for political, E for environmental, S for social, T for technology. So these are the pest, P-E-S-T, often called pest factors. So what are the pest factors? So examples of political, examples of environmental, examples of social, and examples of technological or technology. Well, there's a little bit of information here. I'm going to try to zoom in and focus on one area at a time. The first one we're looking at is political. So if you were setting up a business, what are some of the political factors that might affect the way you run our business? Well, right now we're going through obviously major change with the last 2 years with the pandemic. So there could be some legislation, there could be some law that's brought in that prevents maybe a hotel from allowing a certain amount of people into the lobby, or a shop has to prevent people from maybe, there's a limit of 50 people that can come in to the store at any time. There's other things in political factors that could affect if you were opening up in a country and there was a conflict there. Government spending, maybe the government isn't willing to spend on infrastructure in a country, and maybe there's more money spent elsewhere. It's easier to run your business. Political instability, generally if there's any civil unrest, maybe to do with inflation or government decisions to do with the economics of a country. So these are all basically, if you were to open up your business in a different country or opening it up in your current location, what are some of the factors that politics can influence your company with? And even things just simple as with the different laws that have come in due to COVID would all be political factors, because they would be legislation, and those laws might prevent you from running your business in a certain way. What are some of the environmental? So environmental, maybe as usual, we think of things like sustainability, environmental laws to do with transportation, to do with using natural resources, maybe a limit on place. Maybe there's future laws that come in to do with encouraging environmental uses of sources of energy, or restrictions on burning certain carbon emissions due to global warming. So for example, I know in Ireland at the moment you can no longer build a house with a chimney anymore. So from an environmental standpoint, they've prevented people from building a house with a chimney, as a way of obviously combating carbon emissions and burning of fossil fuels in homes. Maybe if you think of something as well, like a restaurant, a lot of restaurants would have moved away from using plastics, shops would have moved away from using plastics, and encouraged not to use them for just obviously biodiversity, for environmental reasons. The social factors are a big one. These are generally just kind of the external, so your population, their preferences. So emphasis on safety, emphasis on social distancing. If you're running maybe a gym or something like that, or fitness classes, there's a bigger emphasis on social distancing now. And because of that, because of people's awareness of that, you would have to have maybe a reduced amount of people that could attend your classes. Lifestyle choice, people are a lot healthier, making healthier decisions. If you're selling food or anything like that, people are a lot more conscious about what's in the food, and trying to maintain a healthy lifestyle. So these are all social factors. These are things that affect people, and people's decisions, and then because of the decisions that these people are making, it can change the way you run your business. So things like people are becoming a lot more obsessed with the way they eat. A good example of that is Cocoa Pops, the sugary breakfast cereal, which obviously wouldn't naturally be seen as something that's very healthy. And when they years ago, their ads, their ads on TV used to be focused on just cartoons, cartoon advertising. And in the last decade or so, they've started to focus their ads on talking about things like, some of the vitamins or minerals that can be found in that breakfast, because they know that people are very health conscious now. So instead of just showing a cartoon ad to get people's attention or people that buy the sugary cereal, they're now focused on trying to promote it as being some form of a healthy alternative. Um, the last factor we're looking at is technology. So technological factors, things like the use of social media. So for shopping, people now shop online a lot more, and that stores have to change the way they do business because of that. Food stores have even had to change their business, especially in the pandemic. Many people have been doing food shops online. The use of social media for advertising, e-commerce, selling online. So this has made huge changes in the way businesses are currently running. Some companies, well, if they were having meetings with their employees, they might choose to have it over Zoom or Microsoft Teams instead of asking people to come to a specific location. So technology has a major change in our communication, in how we purchase or how we run our businesses. So these are the four. They're the four pest factors. And that's just information on each of them. What I'm going to ask you to do is we're looking at this question here. If you opened up a restaurant, what external factors would influence the way you run your business? So either positively or negatively. And what I'm going to get you to do, I'll write it down here at the bottom and you can write it down yourselves, is you're going to need to look at all four factors. So social, economic, political, and technology. So usually it's pests, so political, environment, or the political, environmental, or economic, social, and technological. Looking at all four factors, after that I want you to look at those in a positive and negative light, and maybe look at some of the factors that your restaurant would have to adhere to, some of the decisions they'd have to make due to the external factors that might affect the business. So I kind of mentioned some of them earlier, maybe to do environmental, looking at more focused on using reusable materials, maybe even things like cutlery. Some restaurants might have banned, or there might be a country that might ban using a plastic for cutlery in a restaurant. Political decisions that have come in, even things like tax prices, the minimum pay that you have to pay your waiters, your workers, or anything like that. Social factors, the way the preferences people have for what they purchase, and technology, how they purchase now, and the fact that we have often moved towards food delivery companies instead of relying on going to stores all the time. So there's so much different ways you can come at this question. So the question is, if you opened a restaurant, what external factors would influence the way you run your business? And I need you to write your answer by looking first of all at each of the four and looking at them from a positive and negative standpoint. And you're going to need at least two factors from each. So making 2 points about political, preferably one positive point and one negative point about how politics could affect the way you run your restaurant. One positive, one negative to do with environmental, one positive, one negative to do with social, and one positive and one negative to do with technology. And that way you'll end up with your 8 points. And if you have any questions, you can ask, and I'll be correcting that in our next class. Thank you.